If you're not familiar, Brisk Teaching, you can just go to briskteaching.com. It is an AI assistant that teachers use to create teaching materials, to create interactive activities for their students. And the thing that I love about it is that you can create all of this stuff from the places that you already spend time. So I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like here in a second. So briskteaching.com is where you go. You can just click the Get Started Free button, and it's going to set you up with the Chrome extension. You'll know about Chrome extensions. You know, they're the little programs that run in your Google Chrome web browser. Once the Chrome extension is in place, then you can go just about anywhere, and Brisk goes with you. So you'll notice that once this loads up right down here in the bottom right-hand corner, there it is. There's the little Brisk bee down there. And so once you're here, you click on it, and it's got this menu. And so there's all sorts of things that you can do inside of it. Most of the things that I love to do the most are in the Create button. So if we're going to create a whole unit in 10 minutes using Brisk, then let's start out by creating kind of like a reading that students might do. Sort of like that baseline information that they've got to get. Let's come up with something that we might teach. Okay, all right, so we are going to cover basic information about the planets and the solar system. Is there anything else? That's enough, right? Yeah, okay. And what grade would we do that for? Maybe like 4th grade? Yeah? Okay. All right, so we'll make it for 4th graders. And so, of course, we can put it in just about any language right here. You can also align it to standards, too. So if you have specific standards that you want to connect it to, it will load all of these state standards up and, your Common Core standards and NGSS and all of that stuff. So you can pull in standards as well, and then you hit Brisket to create something. Okay, so it has created a reading for us about the solar system. We're going to root everything that we do out of this reading, okay? So let's imagine that our unit is about the solar system. If we didn't like this reading and we wanted to make it longer, we could click this button, make it shorter, make it more detailed, make it less detailed, translate it into any language. If you've got students from, different households that have different languages, it's nice to be able to do this quickly. And then if you want to change anything like there was one that I did earlier where I said, change it into paragraph form instead of bullet point form. You can do something a little like that, and it'll rewrite it for you. Okay, so once we've got this, what we can do is we come back down to the little bee, and now let's create some things based off of this reading. Now, this is the reading that Brisk made for us. We could pull in our own stuff if we want to, right? Just as easily. Let's say we want to make some slides. So we're going to click on the presentation. We're going to hit next. Based on this reading. It's just as easy as that if you want it to be, or of course you can get a lot more detailed. Still 4th grade, we could make it as many slides as we want. If you have the premium, you can add images. If not, you just make it without and just go get your own, And then we hit, by the way, if you're a Microsoft school, you can generate this in Power. Anybody Microsoft school? Yeah, okay, yeah. So everything can be run in Edge and Word and PowerPoint and all of that stuff too. Okay, so we hit next. We decide to pick, let's see, the world one has a globe on it. Yeah, that's the one we're going to use. Okay, well, so we'll stick with world. We'll hit Brisket. And so now it's going to make us some slides. While it's making the slides, let's come back over here and let's find something else fun that we might be able to do. In this case, we're going to make a podcast. Actually, let's make about 3 things. We'll make a podcast, we'll make a quiz, and then we'll also make guided notes. So if students are reading, it's the kind of thing where you can fill in the blanks as you go, This is one of the nice things that saves us time with Brisk, is you don't have to make things one by one. You can make them into these bundles. So we'll start with the first one. This is the podcast. And so this is, again, based on this reading. And so we can change the length of the podcast. Okay, again, based on this reading, multiple choice, 12 questions. It can be short answer, it can be long answer. And then finally, the guided notes. And if I was spending a little bit more time, I might be a little more explicit in my prompt, to get something a little bit better. While that's creating that bundle, let's come back over here and check out the slides. And of course, with anything AI generated, what it gives you isn't always perfect right out the gate, but it's a good first draft. I always like to use the 80-20 rule whenever I have AI creating things. If it'll get me 80% of the way there, cool, we're in good shape. I do 20% of the adjustments, we're in good shape, so. It's creating our presentation, which we can see here. It's got some questions, it's got some images. So it's a good start, right? Our bundle is still coming over here. Now, while the bundle is going, I want to show you one of my favorite things. One thing I haven't told you, if you don't know me, is that I am a high school Spanish teacher. Let's just look for a YouTube video about the solar system. That's one of the other neat things about Brisk. Remember how I said earlier that the little Brisk button goes with you wherever you go? You see it down here? Okay, so we've got this Science 101 video about the solar system from National Geographic. Good resource, right? We're going to turn this into an interactive student activity. Brisk has these interactive student activities that they call Boost. For me, in my Spanish class, this is the thing I use the most with Brisk. So what it does is it takes this YouTube video and it's going to create this interactive activity where you can watch the video on the left, and on the right there's a little chat bot that's going to ask you questions about the video. Think of it as a worksheet, only way more interactive and way more adaptive and better, Okay, so we're going to make this just a tutor activity. See, it says create an activity about the attached YouTube video, and when I hit continue, it's going to create learning objectives. These are the things students must show understanding of. So it's going to pick out about 3 things that they need to show, that they need to demonstrate understanding about. And what's interesting is that the little chat bot next to the YouTube video is constantly reading the students' answers, constantly assessing it, and constantly gathering evidence to see have they met these objectives or not. That's what I love about it. In addition to it, you can adjust the guardrails. This is kind of like, what do you not want the chatbot to do? And then you've got the scaffolding. This is like, if things go wrong, if something goes sideways, how do you want the chatbot to respond? This is all just built in. And they've got some pre-written stuff in here that's always really pretty good. So I don't even really have to adjust anything, and I can hit create that activity. And so now it's creating the activity, and this is what it looks like to the students. This is what my Spanish students see. And I might give them a reading over here that's in a document or on a website, or I might give them a PDF file or something like that. And notice the learning objectives are up here at the top. 1, 2, 3, and they're all gray right now, right? Okay, so we come down here and we hit let's go. This is exactly what your students would do too if they were doing this. Okay, I'm here to help you learn. What would you like to explore first? The planets, the different regions of the solar system, or something else? Let's do planets. And again, you can just answer with one word a lot of times. Okay, let's start with the 8 planets. According to the video, the planets are divided into 2 main groups based on what they're made of, terrestrial and Jovian. Can you name one planet that you think is terrestrial or rocky? Anybody want to guess? Mars. I think that's a good guess. Let's see if that's right. Excellent. Mars is indeed a terrestrial planet. And what are 2 characteristics that make Mars a terrestrial planet? I want to show you something. Do you see this? Do you see how it turned orange? Orange means in progress. That's the signal to your students that says you're on the right track. We see your progress. You're heading in the right direction. If you keep answering enough questions about classifying the 8 planets by composition, this thing turns solid green. Solid green means you're done. My students love this because it's clear what they need to accomplish to get done with the assignment. But there are lots of ways to do it. If they struggle a little bit, all they have to do is just keep talking to the chatbot. If they don't understand something, they can just ask the chatbot for help. Explain it to me. And it's adaptive like that, which is really cool. By the way, when you create one of these assignments, if you want to share it with your students, you just do it with a link. just like everything else we do with every other app. You know, you just give them a link. So you hit the share button, copy the student activity link, and you put it in their assignment. You know, if you use, you'll use Google Classroom or Canvas, or yeah, it's almost always one of those, right? Yeah, you just drop the link in the assignment, and then they just click on it from the assignment and they open it. Now, as a teacher, what you can do is you can hit view progress. All of your students will show up on this screen, and you can see immediately what their progress is on all of the different spots. Of course, you can like highlight or hover over here and see what they are. You can click the eyeball to actually read the transcript of everything they've said. And then you can check the learning objectives over here as well. And you can download the chat if you need to. But just being able to keep an eye on it like that is really nice. Plus, the more students you get in there, you start to get class insights. This is like saying, everybody's struggling with terrestrial planets. Everybody knows what Jovian planets are. You might want to go back over this particular thing. 4 students are struggling with this. So it's like, it gives you a little bit of that insight without having to read every single thing. Let's go back to our bundle, and then we're going to start to wrap up. Remember when we made that quiz? There's the quiz. And by the way, this is already set up as a Google Forms quiz with the answers already set and the points already assigned. That's nice. If you go back to the bundle, we had our podcast. There's our podcast right there. And so it's written this transcript, but then I'm not sure if we've got audio or not, but if you hit play, it does read it out loud. Just take my word for that one. I promise it does read it out loud. Yeah. The other thing that's cool about this too, you can hit that boost it button right there. You remember the little chat bot? You can turn this into a chatbot activity where they listen to the podcast and they interact. And then finally, the other thing that we made was the guided notes. There are guided notes. They're just in a document. You can edit them. You can do whatever you want with them. So I may have taken a little bit more than 10 minutes, hopefully not too much more, but what have we got? We have a reading, we have a set of slides, we have a bundle that includes guided notes, a podcast, a quiz, and an interactive activity that's based on a video. And we did that in 10-ish minutes.